Good evening, everybody. My name is Miss Reed, the founder of DaaamnDaddy.com, where daddy issues drive discussion, and this is the discussion room. Tonight in the discussion room, I have philanthropist and lifelong student Nehemiah Davis joining us to tell us about the learning curve his dad's absence presented in his life. Neil, welcome to the call. How are you this evening?
Hey, I'm phenomenal. I'm just privileged that I get the opportunity to be in the discussion room. You know, I've been seeing people forever get in the discussion room. Like, when will I get my turn? And tonight is it. So I'm super excited to be here. Super excited that you are championing this subject and helping other people heal and get through. So appreciate it.
Thank you. I just wanted to say to those of you who don't know, there would be no DaaamnDaddy. There would be no the discussion room if Nehemiah wasn't doing everything that he did. So about 3 years ago, he used to host the Power Hour conference call. And I was seeing him post about it on Instagram and decided to join one. And that one happened to be with Zim from Travel Noir. And I didn't even know Travel Noir was a business or a person. I just thought it was a hashtag. And I kept tuning into those calls, and every week, whoever the guest was, whether it was Tanya over at My Fab Finance or Tiffany the Budgetnista, everybody just kept saying, start before you're ready, start before you're ready. And I remember one day I called in, and at the end of the call, they always let you, say what aha moments or highlights you had. And I was like, I started my blog because I kept listening to everybody else. So thank you, Neil, for what you do, and I appreciate you pushing me. It was his idea for me to do a podcast eons before I decided to really go after that thing and try it. So it's a pleasure to have you with us this evening.
Hey, and I'm happy you executed, man, because so many people, they may have the idea, but they never actually do it for whatever reason. It could be, they could be afraid, just whatever the reason is. So I value your execution because that's the real key to success.
All right. So now that we have you here and we've gotten all that out of the way, I just wanted to say, you didn't really tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do, and that's understandable because I know. But when you introduce yourself, you normally share that your dad's been incarcerated since you were 2 years old.
Yep.
What lessons do you feel his guidance would have accelerated in your learning process?
You saying if I had him here, what lessons? I truly believe, because from my understanding, they said my dad was like the ultimate hustler. So I truly believe that I probably would have been a little further than I am now because I would have been able to sell better because he was a salesman. I would have been able to articulate my words better because he could articulate his words. So I just believe I would have been ahead simply because I watch a lot of my friends who are ahead. I just believe you're at a better advantage when you have both parents opposed to just one parent. Like, I'm all in for people having both parents. So I just would have think financially I would have been in a better position, and I would have probably made more connections, and I wouldn't have had to felt like I had to do all of this on my own. So having a father in your life is a major key for those who have one. It's an automatic win.
With your dad being incarcerated, do you or have you kept contact with him all these years?
He called every now and then, but I don't talk to him that often. I would say a few times a year, which was over 2017. But before that, I probably didn't speak to him for at least a solid, probably 8 to 10 years. It was a long time.
So you mentioned feeling like you would be further and definitely advocating for two-parent households. I know that your mom is always supporting you in everything that you do. You once told me that you felt like you didn't really feel his absence because you had such a great mom. As you know, I was on a panel this past weekend in about the same topic, daughters daughters and fatherless sons, and how that varies for people. And the gentleman next to me said that his mom gave him her best. And it reminded me of something you said. It made me feel like that sometimes people feel guilty addressing one parent's absence as if it will offend the parent who raised them. Is that something you ever felt or had to deal with?
No, I didn't really have to deal with it because my dad been in jail since I was 2. So his feelings.
Well, I mean, your mom, like, would it hurt your mom's feelings to acknowledge that his absence impacted you? Is that something you ever felt?
You know what? I'm not sure if it would hurt my mom's feelings because honestly, I I wouldn't say his absence has impacted me until now, because I never really thought about it till I believe you said something on our last call, or you said something at some point, but I never really thought about it because I felt like she did such a good job raising me, where it was like, man, I was cool. But I know having another parent is just like having two coaches. You're going to do better than just having one. It's like two heads are better than one. Like two finances pulled together is better than one. So it's like I didn't really put too much emphasis on it, but I watched some of my peers who had both parents, and I'm like, man, that's a winning formula, because your mom shouldn't be trying to teach you what your dad should be teaching you, and vice versa. You know what I mean? Your dad shouldn't be teaching you what is meant for your mother to teach you. So by default, my mother had to do it, and so many other mothers or fathers have to take step up for that role. But certainly, I know for certain, I believe it would help. But it didn't stop me from what I was doing either.
Okay. You once said, or you asserted, that daddy issues are for women. Is that something you still feel? And what do you feel made you think that way at that time?
You know what? I don't even remember saying that. So I gotta monitor what I say at times, but I don't want to say they're just for women, because men have feelings too. I mean, maybe we don't acknowledge our feelings as much. And again, this issue didn't take a large toll on me like it does with other people. Some of my male friends talk how that really affects them. Forget my dad. I don't have that forget my dad in me. Like for me, it don't matter to me. You know what I mean? That much. But, I would definitely take that back, because everyone has feelings, men and women both alike, and you just never know how certain things affect people. Like certain things affect me more than it does others, and vice versa. Just this subject isn't as hurtful to me as it is to other men and other women. So I don't want to say it affects men more than women any longer. I believe it affects everyone in a different way.
I can agree with that. That's definitely, I don't think it's a gender thing. I definitely think that it impacts people differently based on the intensity. My story is similar to yours, where my father was incarcerated, and I never really felt bothered by it or impacted by it until a few years ago. So I can understand why you feel that way. I had a great mom and great relatives who stepped in. So I definitely understand that was not as bad for me as somebody who might have had a dad in the home who was physically abusive, or somebody who may have had a dad who passed before they got to know them.
Yep.
So you're currently engaged. Who do you lean on to help you prepare for married life?
I lean on my mentor, Carl, owner of Urban Art Gallery, who's also like a father figure to me now, because I don't know if growing up inner city, like you do what your environment does. Like I proposed to my fiance at 29, I believe, or whatever age I proposed. But that's a long time, where other people are getting engaged at 21, 22, 23. But the reason why it took me so long was, and I don't mean to go off question, but it took me longer than others because I never seen a successful marriage. My mom's marriage didn't go the way it planned. I never knew other people who have had a successful marriage until I met Carl, who've been married for 25 years. So his advice is important because evidently he's doing something right. You know what I mean? He's just a stand-up man altogether. I'm with him. It ain't no talking about other women. Ain't no talking about cheating. It's just like, he's literally a solid man. So me seeing him, like, man, I need to hurry up and do this. But I get the opportunity to lean on him oftentimes, question him about what I need to do and just moves and steps I need to make for this thing to actually work. And we're going to get marriage counseling as well, just to make sure everything's great.
I'm glad you brought that up, that you took your time because you had not yet seen a successful marriage. I don't particularly feel that people's age matters. It's about preparedness, because anybody can get married at the legal earliest that you are allowed to, but it doesn't mean that's a sustainable age for marriage if that's not right for you and that person. How important do you think it is to see successful relationships as a young man?
it's super important because you gauge that on what you could do. You know what I mean? It's so easy then for me to say, let me just keep cheating, because so many friends was doing it. That's what television and movies show you. Just that's what my environment showed me. It was about being a player, about being how many women you can have. It was never like, yo, how about I get one woman and get married? How about I get one woman, get engaged? It never been that. My whole life is like, yo, who can get the most chicks? So my whole life, that's what was placed in my mind. So that environment is key.
That's a great point. I think that people underestimate the impact that media has and the exposure. Exposure is a big deal, whether it's for marital relationships or even interpersonal relationships. As far as friendships go, you do a lot to expose the kids in your community to new things. Is that something that somebody in your community did during your childhood, or are you being the person you needed?
I think I'm being the person I needed, and my mom did it. My mom took me skiing when I was a young man. My mom also sent me to a school where I was the minority, which really changed my perspective on what I could achieve. I was a kid from West Philly, but I got to go spend the night at my friends' homes in Paoli, which is affluent neighborhoods. My friends still to this day, I remember like it's yesterday, he had the pool house. He had four-wheelers. He had horses all on a property. I'm coming from a West Philadelphia row home. Just to see that was like, man, I can do it. My other friend had a whole third floor for his bedroom. It was just like, to see that and like, man, I can have this life was like a light bulb for me. So exposure is the key, like just exposing somebody. I don't care about buying people things. I want to give you a memory. Like we're taking kids on a ski trip, memory. That kid now may say, yo, it could be the spark to say, hey, I can actually be a professional skier, right? I want to teach kid entrepreneurship, how to make money, because they can take that tool and knowledge with them to change the rest of their life and anyone they interact with. So it's all about memories and exposure for me. That's the number one key to me to success, exposure and being taught hands-on.
Okay. So the rapper Fabulous posted a picture a few months ago of his son, and he, in the caption, described how he took that opportunity to teach his son a lesson about looking people in the eyes when addressing them, because that's a lesson he felt his father wasn't there to teach him. Are there any key lessons that you wish your father was around to teach you? Because you did say that there are some lessons that should be taught by a father versus some lessons that should be taught by a mother.
I really don't know, because my mom taught me all the lessons. So if I had to sit here and think, I'll be honest, I mean, I don't really have one, but I just wish I was taught sales at a young age. Like I wish I was taught the things that matter now, like how to articulate your words, how to communicate, how to sell, how to do what you love. Like I wish I was taught those things, but like more manly things, how to talk to a woman, how to do this. Not really, the main thing is tangible things. Like I wish I was taught how to do those things. Maybe just the most important thing that I wish I was taught, just learning how to communicate, period, how to become a great communicator in relationships and period. But that's my main thing, just improving my communication skills in my own relationships, primarily with my significant other, because I believe the reason why a lot of things don't work marriage-wise with a lot of people is lack of communication. So that's something I want to work on.
Okay. You mentioned that 2018 is your year of learning. You want to go back to being a student. What are some of the things that you want to learn now at this stage in life outside of what you shared thus far?
Internet marketing is one thing I'm constantly working on learning. I'm learning how to communicate and build fruitful relationships without looking for anything. Like I'm not building with you, Shamiko, because next year I know Shamiko got an opportunity coming up I might can capitalize on. Now I'm building with you genuinely because I want to see you do well. I want to see how I can support you. So building fruitful relationships, as well as just learning the art of networking. You know what I mean? I'm going to conferences. I'm learning everything I wish I learned at 18. You know what I mean? So that's my mission for 2018. Just learn, apply. You know, that's all I'm on, because that's the real key to success. Learn, and apply the information. You got this podcast. You learn how to do it. You heard it was something you should have did, and you did it. And if we keep doing that over and over and over again, just the impact that we're going to make, not only for ourselves, but the impact you're going to make because other people around you are going to start doing, opposed to just talking.
Okay. So you talked about how there's certain things that you wish you learned that matter now. And you also shared that you didn't really stay in school as far as college and being put out of different schools and stuff in your academic career. If you don't know, right now, I just re-entered the classroom on Monday for the first time in 4 years. And my class is all boys. And I realized that a lot of the behaviors are due to either embarrassment because they are not confident in their ability to engage with the text, or boredom because they are overconfident, or not overconfident, but they are more than capable and they feel like the work is beneath them. What was your experience in the classroom, and how do you feel it contributed to you not having the same academic path you could have?
What was my experience when I was like in high school classrooms?
Or elementary school, if you can remember that far.
I was really just a knucklehead. So my experience was, how can I make these people laugh? How can I make it seem like I'm cool? So that was my real experience. But, a lot of things we do are dictated on. A lot of things we do are dictated on what other people may think. Like, I don't want to go do this. I don't want to raise my hand because I fear that if I get it wrong, they're going to laugh at me. I don't want to get up and go to the bathroom because everyone's going to look at me. So most of your decisions is made based on the people around you. And that's still even adulthood. Like, I don't want to start in this path of entrepreneurship because I'm afraid that if I fail, people are going to laugh at me. I don't want to do this because such and such going to think this if it doesn't work. So many of us are operating in a space where we care so much what someone says that it affects our decisions we make.
I can agree with that. We had one young person absent today, and the teaching assistant told another young person she felt that they were on track due to that other person's absence. And I don't like to play the blame game, so I didn't really like that she said that. But that's her observation. She's been with them longer, that when that one person is absent, this other person performs better because they're not worried about impressing that other person.
Yeah. Crazy.
So what do you think attributed to you being a knucklehead during your academic experience?
I think just wanting to get attention. One thing, getting attention. Other thing, seeing other people do it. Trying to I was a follower, let me follow the in crowd. Let me follow what those dudes are doing. I thought it was cool. And I was playing myself. Like, I wasn't learning nothing, anything. I was just getting through school, trying to be a class clown or something. I wasn't even funny. It was stupidity now. I look back like, man, what were you doing? Like, you're just trying to be cool. Like, that's not the way to be cool. Be cool by getting good grades, right? Be cool by being a leader. Be cool by starting something. That's how you win.
How did you find the right group to follow? Because you talk to us all the time in the Circle of Greatness Academy about filtering through your timeline and unfollowing certain people. So back then, being a follower was more related to the people directly in front of you and in your classroom setting. But now with social media, we can literally follow anybody. How do you feel that you were able to learn the right people to follow? Because you've been able to engage with a lot of great people who are dominating their lanes in different things, whether it's in your local Philadelphia community, nationally, or globally.
I think when I started following the right people, results started to happen. Certain things started to happen in my life. Success started to happen. I got access to information. I was pulled up. I was brung in on opportunities. So once you see something work, generally you keep doing that. So, and again, I didn't figure this out. It might be 4 or 5 years ago I figured this out. I didn't figure this out for a while. But once I figured it out, I'm like, man, I need to do more of that. It's like when you identify something that's working, you don't stop doing it. You do more of it. So I realized that, my network is my net worth. Relationships will take me anywhere I need to go. Relationships got me in the White House. You can't pay for that. Hey, can I come pay for a seat to get in the White House with you, Barack? I couldn't do that. So a relationship did that. And understand that whatever you put out in this universe, you're going to get it back. It's the law of reciprocity. Whatever you put out, you're going to get it back. So I'm only trying to put out good vibes. I'm only putting out what I want more of for myself. And I'm making the decision that to be around great people because they bring the best out of me.
Okay. They bring the best out of you. That's the best way you can really look at that.
It's true.
I have another question based on your opportunities that you present to young people, and then also what you said about wishing your dad was there to teach you about being a salesman. My father once wrote a letter to me saying that he would not change anything if he could, because maybe his absence did more for me than his presence would have. And maybe having those learning curves put you in the path of people like Carl and others who have helped you get on the path to success. Mm-hmm. Do you look forward to reconnecting your relationship with your dad?
I do. If he get out of jail, he's supposed to have life in prison. But if he get out of jail, yes, absolutely. But yeah, I do. And I guess I never thought about it, but at a point I was like, nah, I just actually thought about it. Like, man, dude, I want to like build a relationship for somebody who may never get out. You know what I mean? Like, I just thought about that just now. I'm like, but maybe I still should like build a relationship, although he may never get out, like ever. So it's like, are you wasting time? And I'm asking myself these questions right now because I never actually thought about that. So I look forward more to him getting out and building a relationship opposed to doing it in jail.
I understand.
I'm not saying we can't do it in jail. We could talk on the phone. But I want to look forward to something. Yo, you going to come out? We're going to start this business. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. Things of that nature. Okay.
That's fair. I met someone through the Coalition for Children of Incarcerated Parents. I want to say summer 2016. His father was supposed to be serving a life sentence, but through a project, they were trying to get certain people's sentences overturned due to a change in the laws. So his mom lied to him, and he thought his father was in the military until he was maybe 13. He found a letter his dad wrote him. So he never even knew his dad, and he met him as a teenager in jail. But his mom had been lying to him all those years, telling him he was in the military. And he's been able to build a relationship with him, even though he's still incarcerated. So that is something to think about. And that's not something I ever thought about until I asked you. But there's a big difference between building a relationship with somebody who you can see and have access to more freely than someone you can't.
It's like building a relationship. You try and build a relationship with a girl or a dude, and like, but I know I'm never going to see you. like, yo, you live in Philippines, and and I will never see you for whatever the reason may be. You'd be like, should I do this? So I don't know. That's weird. That was like a sidebar. I was just thinking about that.
No, I mean that's what happens in the discussion room. Right. Different thoughts, change your thinking process. So, what are some of the things that you look forward to accomplishing with the youth that you work with? Like when I met you, I was going to those classes at Wharton, and you had the young man selling candy in the classes.
And now he sells candles. So my objective always been try to help a kid become a millionaire. It's just really finding that right kid who want to really go hard because it's a job. It's not no easy feat. That's one thing. But more so just getting more entrepreneurs out here, letting them know they got what it takes, letting them know they don't got to wait till they're 18 to do it. And just teaching kids crafts, how to build candles, how to become a photographer, how to be a nail tech, how to be a YouTuber. It's literally getting in their mind and telling them to remove the limits out of your life and start operating like you're an adult. Meaning when you're an adult, you're doing this because you have to do it. And I want them to love what they're doing. So not just like, oh, you're an adult, you just got to grind. But I want them to know, like, man, you can make something great out of this if you're willing to put the work in.
Okay.
So
So that's all I have for you this evening. If there's any questions that you have, let me know, or anything else you want to share. Let the people know how they can follow you and get in contact with you and some of the other great things you're doing in the community.
Well, first, thank you once again for the call. It's phenomenal. I'm just happy I had to get the opportunity to be a guest. You could check me out at circlegreatnessacademy.com, as well as on all social media outlets, Nehemiah Davis or Neil DeViso on Instagram. I look forward to connecting and engaging with all you amazing listeners. And please keep supporting the discussion room, and let's keep getting messages out here to help people heal and help people grow.
All right. Thanks, Neo.